Here we go, ladies and gentlemen. Reed Hartman versus Haruki Okunishi. It's going to be just one game. One game separates this kids from becoming an LAIC champion.
Hopefully it's 2 or 3 games, Pancho.
Yeah. One match. Okay.
One match. Potential 3 games. Grimmsnarl versus Charizard. We hadn't mentioned the decks just yet. Now that our players are seated at the table, we can talk a little bit about their history so far in this tournament. They have played against each other, as the parents shared with us, with Haruki coming out on top and Reed beating Marnie's Grimmsnarl in top 4, right? So yes, Marnie's Grimmsnarl can be a little on the tougher side for Charizard, but he has beaten it already, and it's time to do it again in the finals if he wants to be crowned the champion. But wow, Pancho, look at those accolades.
Looking at Reed, again, regionals in Las Vegas, top 8 just last week. Again, a lot from just this year and last year. Top 8 in Milwaukee as well, top 8 in Pittsburgh, and the Monterey regional champion. And looking at Haruki, though, was top 4 at the Anaheim World Championships. A lot of international level placements there. New Orleans, NAIC top 8. And of course, top 8 in the Perth regional. Those are really great accolades. These are very, very young players. But again, only one can come out on top. Talking about Haruki, though, Haruki is actually 4-0 against Charizard EX.
Oh, wow.
So he is very, very practiced in this specific matchup. He's, yeah, again, we mentioned it earlier, he's even beaten Reed in Swiss. But again, Reed is a little bit different between Swiss and finals, the grand finals in a international.
I have to imagine that Reed beating Marnie's Grimmsnarl in the semifinals of this tournament probably gives him a little bit more confidence in terms of heading into this game, right? Just need to do what I did again, no problem. And Haruki also, on the other side, being 4-0 against Charizard, having already beat Reed previously in the tournament, probably also feeling extremely confident heading into this match. So yeah, I think confidence definitely leads to the best decision-making possible, so I'm really looking forward to see what these kids have in store for us, Juancho.
Both of them made it here to the finals of LAIC. I'm sure they're breathing with confidence right now, so we're going to see peak gameplay from both these kids. And Charizard EX versus Marnie's Grimmsnarl. Both these decks almost seem fairly similar, right? They're both Dark-type Pokemon that power themselves up, that do damage, and they're both almost like scaling damage as well, right? Damage starts to ramp up with Charizard based on the amount of prize cards, while yes, Marnie's Grimmsnarl has a set amount, but damage starts to ramp up if the Frostlass is in play. So very similar gameplay, game styles. It's all gonna be about the pilot.
Now, why is the matchup a little on the tougher side for Charizard, though? Even though both decks, as you mentioned, ramp up the damage, it's the damage manipulation that is available for Haruki through the continuous use of Munkidori, right? We have 4 copies of Munkidori, plenty of darkness energies to get it ready, and because Marnie's Grimmsnarl is self-sustaining with its own ability, your 1 of energy attachment return can be dedicated to Munkidori. Yeah?
Well, while Reed's Charizard, exactly the same, does also generate the energy into itself, self-sustaining, and Reed's deck is actually, if I have to say, it's Charizard Munkidori. Does play a couple of Munkidori, 2 copies, and 3 Luminous Energy. So there's going to be a lot of monkey business in this matchup. Got a lot of flinging back and forth, but whoever sustains the most damage should come out on top.
Seems like Reed is going to be going first in this game. That makes me think that Haruki won the coin flip this time around and chose to go second. Both players probably want to go second. That way you get to play item cards and supporter cards, which is a much more powerful combination than just an item card on your first turn. Yeah, I think we're heading to our game very soon. Both players have found a basic. We're going to be seeing those prizes being set up right now. Will there be anything crucial here, Juancho?
Prizing supporters always feels a little bad because you want to see those early, but a couple of balloons might have flown away to the prize cards for both these players. Air balloon means there's not that much means of pivoting. Let's look at the counts, though, for Haruki and Reed. They should be only 1 air balloon apiece. It is this 1 tech card, just so that you can move in and out of the active.
And I think the major cards for me in these prizes are the ghost effects at the very top. So a counter catcher at the very top for Haruki. Grimmsnarl is a deck that doesn't mind going behind in prizes. Can happen because your damage output is limited. Sometimes you're purposely letting your opponent take prizes as you set up multi-KO turns through the use of Adrenal Brain or whatnot. And Reed, on the other hand, will probably want to be ahead in multiple times of the game and could need that last boss's orders that's at the top of the prize cards to seal a game that he could easily win if that was available. So I feel like those are the cards that I have an eye on in terms of what could possibly affect the outcome of this match.
I like it, as here we go. We are starting our final match here, and looks like Camille, yeah, you mentioned, is going to start us off. Does open the Buddy Poffin. Great opener there. Like to chomp on some bread as you find your basic Pokemon. And when you have that on the first turn of the game without having your supporters to search for it, it's a good time. That means you are able to set up this despite the fact that you cannot play these supporter cards. And Buddy Poffin, of course, able to find stuff like Pidgey and those Charmanders.
Can you imagine if Buddy Puffin set up your Pidgeot right off the bat? That would be crazy.
That'd be a fun format, Pablo.
All right, so yeah, we're being very thorough with our prize checking at this point in time. Of course, we want to set up Pidgeot. That's the key card. I feel like setting up Pidgeot is the key card here. For Camille, that's like the big advantage. Luca has to rely on finding supporters over and over to find the cards they need, whereas the names are wrong. Pardon me. Haruki will need to rely on the supporters in order to find the cards he needs. However, Reed will have to rely, or will be able to rely on Pidgeot for more specific search. Now, one rare candy is priced, does play 3 copies, and he plays 2 copies of Charmeleon, so setting up Charizard should be pretty good.
Yes, 2 rare candies. That is enough for a rare candy Pidgeot, rare candy Charizard. Do you think, if you go that route, though, is there any downside to that?
Yeah, Technical Machine Devolution, a key card for Haruki, a core strategy for Grimmsnarl decks. Every time you go up against a Grimmsnarl, you know you're going to be playing against Technical Machine Devolution shenanigans, right? Which combined with Munkidori, combined with Frostlass, sometimes those high HPs don't really matter if your basic on stage 1s just have a measly 70, 90, or 100 HP.
I like it, as looks like double Pidgey, double Charmander hits the board. Again, great Pokemon. Those are the exact Pokemon Reed wants there. And again, I believe the Pidgeys on the board, they only have 50 HP, not even the 60 HP Charmanders. So a little bit less. That means it's going to take a little bit less to knock them out potentially.
Yeah, and 10 HP could definitely be the difference overall in getting a Pokemon knocked out or not. So maybe that decision could be costly for Reed. Of course, he's wanting that extra benefit of the Golfer family attack in exchange for that little bit of extra HP, which can be worth it in many instances. But being in range of all these Munkidori Adrenal Brain damage with the Frostlass piling up and the Technical Machine Evolution, that could be costly later down the line.
Yes, as we start Haruki's turn now, Buddy for Buddy. Haruki opens up with his own Buddy Poffin, so should be able to set up his own basic Pokemon. We should be seeing some Impidimps hit the board and maybe some Snoruns.
Now, only 2 Buddy Poffins in this list compared to 4, so I feel like this is something, like as a Grimmsnarl player, when you see that Buddy Poffin in your hand, you always feel quite lucky, right? It's like, because you're not playing maximum odds to starting it, so anytime you start it, it does feel like a huge advantage you gain in the beginning of the match, and that's always welcome.
Man, without having to play a supporter card too, it makes sense seeing these smaller lines just because they're the Grimmsnarl decks have so many consistency cards in a form of a stadium, right? The Artazone and especially the Spikemuth Gym, able to find any line of these Marnie cards, as we do see the Snorunt and the Impidimp hit the board, and importantly, the Dark Fighting Energy onto the Munkidori. That means technically Haruki here is ahead in the Monkey War if it comes down to that.
And this is where the Air Balloon will probably come into play of it being priced, right? It's not available, so we always have to pay that energy on the Munkidori to retreat to start attacking with Marnie Screamspell, which means it's one less Adrena Brain ability available to us in order to pile on the damage over on the whole field. So yeah, that lack of mobility, like it's a lack of mobility not having the air balloon, but it's also a lack of conservation of resources on the board, a lack of pivot later down the line. So I feel like the air balloon for Charizard is not as impactful overall because you have the free treating Pidgeot EX, but it's definitely a lot more impactful for Grimmsnarl.
As Arvin was the supporter of choice, grabbing a second Buddy Buddy Poffin, and just Haruki being to really establish the board. The tool for choice, of course, Air Balloon is prized, but more importantly, on the first turn, the Munkidori is going to be holding the Technical Machine Evolution instead. So he needs a CD over a balloon right now, and Evolution is going to be the attack, which is such a powerful turn one. This is the ideal turn one for both these players, really. If you go second, you want to find your Arvins and start evolving. And just like that, there is the Morgum and the Frostlass that hit the board.
I mean, speaking of ideal, Haruki plays 2 Buddy Poffin and 1 Nestfall, and that's exactly what he played in the first turn of the game for a picture-perfect setup right here. Basically just missing the air balloon to move that Munkidori next turn and have double Munkidori set up and start the Marnie's Grimmsnarl aggression. So now, Reed does have the opportunity to go Rare Candy Charizard, possibly if that's available, or Rare Candy Pidgeot, start being aggressive. That Fezandipity hitting the board will start taking some Frostlass Freezing Shroud damage in between turns during Pokemon Checkup, and now a big Lily. This could let Reed start the aggression or might force him to take another slower turn, making sure he gets to that final setup.
Big 8 cards here. 8 cards is a lot, but it's, you know, not guaranteed. Not when you're not playing something like Arvin to grab Rare Candy to guarantee your Charizard or your Pidgeot. You're at the mercy of these 8 cards. So 8 big ones here. Can he match Haruki's picture-perfect start? Just a Charmeleon to the active.
Yep, found Charmeleon, found Pidgeot, no Rare Candy or Pidgeotto in sight, which could be a little problematic perhaps. And I see another Lily in the hand. I see Pidgeot, I see Stadium, I see a Buddy Poffin as well. But no, it's just gonna be a pass with double Charmeleon in play.
And this is where possibly the 50 HP Pidgeys are going to be punished. Because right now, because the Munkidoris were established very, very early on, there's actually damage on the board to move. Plus the attack from the Grimmsnarl that does 30 to the bench. That's 50, Pablo.
Yeah, 50 is the exact HP of the Pidgey, so that could be problematic. However, we see the Iron Bundle bringing this Fezandipity to the top. That could actually let Haruki also take down Fezandipity instead of Pidgey, which I really like that, right? If you take down one Pidgey, there's still the other one available. So using the damage to just ensure the Fezandipity is knocked out seems like a pretty good deal. And I love how Haruki used the Iron Bundle before committing the Grimmsnarl onto the board, right? That means his opponent made a decision possibly expecting the Marnie's Grimmsnarl, but not knowing for sure that it was going to hit the field. So not giving your opponent information is just as key as trying to get as much information as possible before you make a decision.
Are we sure these are juniors? That's a master level play. As again, Marnie's Grimmsnarl with a punked up ability, able to accelerate up to 5 basic. Doesn't need 5, just accelerated 2 onto the Grimmsnarl. And of course, the Shadow Bullet attack is what we're looking at. Gets the Morgem as well. All that's missing here is, there it is, the second Darkness Energy. Pablo, you were talking about maybe it's better to knock out the Fezandipity instead of the Pidgey. How about we go ahead and knock out both? Because there's 2 Munkidoris, 2 energies, and Haruki is freed to move the damage now before retreating.
Yep, there we have it. 1 damage counter only, trying to get as much damage counter left over for future Adrena Brain plays. And now this second Munkidori Adrena Brain, as you mentioned, Juancho, could utilize to take down a Pidgey, could start setting up some damage on a Charmeleon for future Technical Machine Evolution plays, or just be able to take down a Charizard in 1 hit. We could also conserve the damage, perhaps we want to do more next turn. I really like just putting yourself 3 prizes ahead, half the game won already at the finals of LAIC. I love the idea of that.
Yes, 3 prize cards ahead. It's only turn 2 here, or Haruki's second turn potentially. Again, here we go. Second Munkidori. It is going to be committed to, is that the Charmeleon instead?
Seems like it is the Charmeleon. So another a sort of disadvantage of getting too eager with the prize cards, right, is every time your opponent plays an Iono, you draw less cards, right? So Haruki, no rush, knows that he's playing the longer game, right? And so taking it slow but steady can also win the race.
Yes, so 2 prize cards ahead now. There's also the note of if you race your prize cards a little bit too fast, Charizard's damage actually increases based on the amount of prize cards your opponent has taken. And Reed has multiple ways of damage manipulation as well as damage, as well as adding more damage onto his Charizard in the form of stuff like Kiernan or maybe his own Munkidori.
Yeah, no, you're right. That's actually probably the main reason, right? If you are 3 prizes ahead, Charizard does 270 damage. And with the Freezing Shroud damage attacking your own Grimmsnarl by the time it's your turn, it will have 20 damage on it. And then if Reed sets up a Munkidori, which he already has, right here, then that's exactly 300 damage plus the 10 more from Freezing Shroud. That would be a knockout on the Grimmsnarl. So perfectly well executed. Clearly they know what they are doing.
Exactly, as Reed Hartman, though, plays the counter catcher, opting to knock out a smaller Pokemon as opposed to the Marnie's Grimmsnarl. Potentially, we don't see a Charizard just yet. We haven't seen that many evolution, but surely it should be incoming as Lily is played once again. No prize cards have been taken, so this is another full 8. What pieces is Reed looking for here, Pablo?
1 Ultra Ball or one of the 2 Charizard EXs in his deck. That's 6 possible outs in order to find them. There is 1 Ultra Ball in the prize cards, so 5 total available right now. Of course, if you could set up Rare Candy Pidgeot and then search for the Charizard, that would be even better, but at the very least, you want to start matching your opponent's aggression and start taking some prizes.
So if I got you right, bare minimum, Charizard EX. Ideal, Rare Candy Pidgeot with a Charizard EX. 8 cards is a lot. But again, with the 1 Rare Candy prize, it is a little bit tougher when you're not finding these out, finding them, tutoring it out with the Arven, just trying to draw into it. Does have the Charizard EX at the very least. And we are going to see the Infernal Rain come into play, accelerating 2 fire energy. And just that. No extra fire energy just yet.
He also drew 2 fire energy in his hand, so sometimes with awkward pricing, if you have too many fire energy in your hand, it can get a little awkward with the Charizard ability because it needs the energy to be in the deck and not in your hand. But so far so good. Reed will be able to match this aggression, will take down the only Morgrem in play, limiting any potential future Marnie's Grimmsnarl for Haruki, so setting up another Impidimp will probably be a priority. However, there's an Artisan in play, so as long as the Impidimp is not priced, which it isn't, should be fine.
Yes. Again, the Marnie's Grimmsnarl line is a little bit tighter, right? Only playing a 3-2-2 Grimmsnarl line and only 1 Rare Candy. So taking out this key middle piece, maybe it might be tough to get into a second Grimmsnarl once this active one is knocked out. And maybe that's Reed Hartman's way back into this game, or to take the lead here. But again, very key knockout. All about the board state over the prize cards.
I really want to highlight Haruki's play. He's taking a pause, right? He drew his card, he's analyzing the board, taking a pause, asking Reed how many cards in his hand. He's making plans, and I'm sure once he's sure what his plan is, what he's going to try to do, he is going to start executing, right? This is something I always try to advise players, because I see many people who are very eager to start playing cards, right? Their turn starts, they can't play a supporter, they can't play an energy, and they're playing and then thinking and then playing and then thinking. However, this whole analysis, Haruki makes a plan, and now he's executing flawlessly, very fast as well, which is a treat to see at this level.
And his plan, like you said, he asked about the opponent's hand size. His plan includes whatever is happening in his opponent's side of the field. Not just what he wants to do, but what he has to interact with in his opponent's play. Yeah, again, this is a junior. He's doing absolutely amazing. This is what I expect from the highest level of our masters. And once these kids do age up, they're gonna take the world by storm, really.
Oh, for sure. Now, Lily, 6 fresh new cards, double Munkidori established, Imp established as well. We can heal our Marnie's Grimmsnarl. We're probably not going to take a prize again this turn. We could take down either of the Pidgeys, but I have to imagine Haruki will once again choose not to, because that indirectly keeps his Marnie's Grimmsnarl safe. And because both players have played before, I'm guessing Haruki knows that Reed is not playing maximum build. As their ace pick of choice, it is actually Heroescape, which poses a different sort of problem for Haruki in terms of damage output, knockouts and whatnot, but he knows there's no extra damage burst, and his Marnie's Grimmsnarl is very, very safe here.
Yeah, playing the safe way here. Oh, something of note we have to mention is Hartman's ace spec of choice is the Heroescape, which adds 100 HP. That definitely could come into play, especially if you want to have multiple turns with this Charizard. But what I want to talk about here is, how about the damage placements from Haruki? We were talking about, hey, let's go ahead and prize cards. Let's take a knockout on some Pidgeys. We end the Pheasantipity. But right now, if you look where the damage is, it's on the Charizard and the Charmeleon. And possibly after this attack, do you expect 30 damage now to be on the Pidgey? Or are we going to continue hitting this Charmeleon, Pablo?
I have to imagine it's going to be Charmeleon to not increase the damage that the Charizard does to us, indirectly protecting the Marnie's Grimmsnarl for sure. Yeah, we see the damage being piled up onto the Charmeleon first. Now maybe it's going to go to a Charizard. Nope, just more Charmeleon. Now the Charmeleon is in range, so we could take that down. And okay, seems like it is going to be the prize this time around. And it's also a way to like protect your damage, in the sense that it could also, if you don't KO the Charmeleon now, then it just heals by Munkidori, and you know your opponent probably has the possibility of a second Munkidori, right? So now Reed has pressure. There's no more Artisan in play, so he needs another Charmander down. There's the Artisan immediately hitting the field. However,
maybe I'll read here, just taking a minute, just thinking a little bit. But yeah, again, right now on the board, Charizard with 100 HP remaining, and no Charmander yet in sight. Until now, there's Artisan, but yes, 100 HP remaining on the Charizard, but Reed opting to grab Munkidori as opposed to another Charmander. No third Charmander isn't prized. Heroescape can help here. Again, on the Charizard, give it 200 HP, but that's still in range, isn't it, Pablo?
Yeah, I do believe at this point it is in range, but we do have double Munkidori, right? So we can heal 60 more damage off of this Charizard that will leave it with 140 HP remaining, 150 after the freezing shroud. That's 280 left over. That's going to be a little tough for Haruki to establish. However, with Artisan, if we find the Darkness Energy, maybe triple Munkidori can get us there.
Triple Munkidori, so just able to throw back 90 damage. But Reed Hartman's double Munkidori, so that's moving 60 damage over, and right now with 3 damage counters taken, 3 prize cards taken, this Charizard is doing 270 damage, actually has the knockout on the Marnie's Grimmsnarl EX, and that means Haruki needs to find his own Rare Candy and Grimmsnarl. Is there any other way, any other attacker he can go into to maybe take down this Charizard?
I mean, I don't think so. There could be a TM Devo play perhaps at this point in time. The Heroescape does not save this Charizard from being taken down. The Charmeleon would have 200 HP. We can still get there with the Munkidori damage. Cards flying everywhere, damage flying everywhere. Now, what did Haruki find off of the Iono? That's the question.
There are supporters to be played. There's at least the Arven, so the TM Devolution play should, at the very least, be available. The Devolution not as, well, it's strong in a way that you're taking down the lone Charizard EX and the Heroescape, your opponent's A-Spec. But again, you're not devolving anything else besides that, since Reed wasn't even able to set up a Pidgeot. It seems worth it, but we'll have to see if Haruki goes for it. Or maybe has even the Grimmsnarl triple Munkidori play like you mentioned. But
the thing is, do we have Rare Candy Grimmsnarl available to us?
Yeah,
That doesn't seem like it is. I mean, if the stadium hadn't been countered, then perhaps I see Haruki's eyeing up a stadium to the front, an ice stretcher, the air balloon. Maybe it's time to see the secret box. We haven't seen Haruki play his ace spec. He does move the secret box to the front. Like I said, Haruki plans and then executes. It's really, really interesting to see the way he's very methodical with his play, planning out everything, has the Arven in hand, but hasn't played the Arven. He only plays the card once he is 100% sure of everything he's going to do.
yes, as the secret box and the air balloon that was grabbed off the prizes is now in the hand. So the Munkidori in the active is now maneuverable while keeping its energy. In terms of the Munkidori war right now, both players are matched. 2 Munkidoris to 2 Munkidoris.
The air balloon had to get discarded at this point in time to pay for the cost of the secret box. We're going to see the stadium. Are we going to see the rare candy? There is a nice stretcher at the very front. No, we see a technical machine devolution. I think that is going to be the plan here, Juancho. Whilst we establish a Morgrim, perhaps, that takes down the Charizard. Right now, it has 180 damage on it, so we need 2 more damage counters before we technical machine devolution. So 1 Marnie's Grimmsnarl ability needs to be dedicated towards that. Now we see the stadium getting utilized, countering the Artisan, grabbing that Marnie's Grimmsnarl from the deck. We do have rare candy Grimmsnarl, actually.
Oh, just a lot of options here for Haruki. The lone rare candy. Night Stretcher was a grab for the 3rd energy 2 on the Munkidori.
All right.
This is everything.
A picture perfect board for sure. Now, do we go for the straight up KO instead of technical machine devolution? Is that better? Can we get the KO? Is it game now?
Yes, Haruki with only 3 prize cards remaining. There's a Pidgey on the bench. It depends on how much. Can we knock out both the Charizard and the Pidgey potentially?
We are 10 damage short, Juancho. We are 10 damage short. No, we can. Never mind. The 50 HP on the Pidgey comes down and 180 damage. Freezing Shroud seals the deal on the Charizard. The Pidgey goes down, and we are moving on to game 2 now.
Yeah, the 10 damage is going to be provided by the Frostlass, the Freezing Shroud. Haruki takes a 3 prize turn and takes the first game here at the LAIC Finals. Very masterfully played.
10 damage. 1 damage counter knocking out that Charizard at, what, 420 HP? And then 1 more does it during Pokemon Checkup, along with those 50 HP Pidgeys. That 10 HP lacking on PG has definitely played a role in game 1 of our finals.
Yeah, we talk about how every damage counter counts. I think this was just the perfect example. Just, it was perfect. It was just the right amount of math to win the game. And oh boy, now I can see why Haruki has already taken down so many Charizards in Swiss. Or I know now why he's here in our finals. Let's go ahead and take a quick look at a replay though. This was it. This was the start of the Haruki onslaught, just being able to take 2 prize cards almost immediately. The Serendipity didn't draw any cards. He was the first one to get knocked out.
Yeah, Reed was trying to preemptively bench that Serendipity, expecting perhaps an Iono and a knockout. Turns out that Serendipity was the one to get knocked out. Haruki did have a picture-perfect setup, multiple Munkidori, the early Grimmsnarl, the technical machine evolution play, the Frostlass slowly but surely chipping away at his opponent. And despite Reed matching, or almost matching Haruki's Munkidori's 1-for-1, that wasn't enough. It's the whole damage spread, it's the manipulation, the fact that Haruki's deck is definitely built to have more Munkidoris, whereas Charizard Pidgeot enjoys having Munkidoris, but it's struggling to set up the 2 stage 2s, whilst also needing to have the Munkidoris to match his opponent's Munkidoris.
Exactly. I mean, just so much damage was flying around there, so much math we had to do. Pablo, when we were kids, I don't think I could have done that much in my head.
I'm not a kid and I'm struggling with the math sometimes today. So yeah, very impressive play from both players. Haruki taking that calculated knockout, knowing, yes, my Grimmsnarl will possibly go down next turn, but I can win the next turn if I knock out this Charmeleon. Also make it hard for my opponent to have another Charizard set up. Yeah, it's up to Reed to make something different happen in this game too, and we're already going to have an important difference where Reed will be going second in this game too. Haruki will be going first, and this is where, without that Arven finding the Puffin or whatnot, this is usually where Marnie's Grimmsnarl is at its weakest point, the early game. The lower item card count, relying so much on the stadiums. There's no real draw engine in the deck as well. There's no Serendipity even for later down the line. There are 12 supporter cards though, so those are the key, but you cannot use any of those 12 supporter cards in the beginning of the game.
We'll have to see here. Again, yes, Haruki is going to go first. I just want to mention real quick, Haruki Okunishi is from Malaysia, actually from the Southeast Asian circuit. He actually doesn't get any championship points for this, for being here in an IC. So he is in here. He flew all the way here to compete for the love of Pokemon. And now
and for the World's Invite.
Oh, yeah. Now he has
I think
a World's
that's
Invite.
a pretty good motivator. Now he doesn't need any championship points because he already has his Worlds. I mean, actually, he already had it because he got top 4 at Worlds.
That's true. That is true. So right now, Haruki is going to start us off. Did draw an item, Pablo.
The one copy of Nestball in the deck. Very nice find. Did start Iron Bundle, right? Which honestly was the MVP from the previous game. That's what pushed the Serendipity X to the active spot and started this prize scramble that Haruki ended up winning in.
Looking at a prize card though, very something of note is that one rare candy in the prize card. That is Haruki's only copy of rare candy, while everything else, not much else of note. Just really want to focus on that rare candy. Munkidori, again, we've seen how important that Pokemon is, but luckily Haruki is playing 4 copies of that. Oh, also the only copy of Artazone, I believe.
Yeah, I mean, Haruki's playing more copies of Munkidori than Impidimp, right? And you can see how important Munkidori is. It almost feels like Munkidori and Frostlass are the core threat of the deck, and Marnie's Grimmsnarl is a very nice to have, but it's like you can do without it sometimes.
Yeah. I mean, Munkidori Frostlass, that's a deck in itself, but 180 damage is not that bad. 180 plus 30, that's pretty good. Now, to Reed's turn, does open up the ideal turn. Arven is going to make us a couple of sandwiches, some buddy Poffins, and he's going to be able to set up here, find some Pidgeys, find some Charmanders, and more importantly, find the CD, the Technical Machine Evolution, to turn those Pidgey and Charmanders into their evolved form, Pidgeotto and Charmeleon.
Are Puffin sandwiches, Pancho? I'm generally asking. I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm generally asking. They could be, right? They definitely could be. But yeah, Munkidori and Luminous Energy Prize, that could be problematic later down the line when it's all about the Munkidori damage spread. And it's basically Munkidori is a way for Reed sometimes to add damage, but mostly to heal some of that damage that is getting thrown over on his side of the field. But a Technical Machine Evolution going to be very key. Will probably allow Reed to have access to Pidgeot throughout this game, despite one being priced. I'm sure we can eventually find one for sure. It's just making sure he has all the pieces that he needs in his deck. He's already putting the Stage 1 Pokemon at the forefront of his deck to make sure that he can get everything down, get established, and hopefully get a much more powerful and impactful start in this game too.
At the very least, would love to see a Pidgeot come down. That's something we haven't seen in the last game. Pidgeot's such an integral part in any matchup, really. It's an amazing consistency start with the quick search ability. Also, importantly, has 280 HP. Not 50, 280. Let's protect these baby Pokemon.
Yeah, that is going to be very key in making sure that you have access to any key cards. You have that extra HP so you don't go down immediately. The Technical Machine Evolution play will be live though, especially if you rare candy into the Pidgeot. The 50 HP still remains relevant at that point in time, right? But see, the Technical Machine Evolution get attached this time around finally getting that ideal start for Charizard. I mean, if you ask a Charizard player, what's your ideal start? What do you want to accomplish on your first turn? It's Technical Machine Evolution, get Pidgeotto, get Charmeleon, get them both evolved, and ready to go for next turn.
As Haruki now just starts his turn, immediately evolving into Marnie's Morgrim. No reason to hold back that evolution. The one rare candy is prized. We are not going to see a Marnie's Grimmsnarl hit the board this turn just yet. So not going to be not taking knockouts, that's for sure. But what do you think the ideal second turn here is for Haruki then?
I mean, clearly with no access to rare candy, I think it's just establishing the Frostlass, right? A couple Munkidori perhaps, a backup Impidimp, if you will, in order to have a solid board and just be patient, right? We see the Frostlass, we see a Puffin, so there we have it. Ideal start already. We're just missing that Munkidori. That's where you would probably want to attach your energy to, but starting to get the Freezing Shroud, I mean, even starting to get Freezing Shroud damage on your side of the board is just as important as getting Freezing Shroud damage on your opponent's side of the board.
Yes, that's exactly why we saw Haruki immediately bench double Munkidori on his first turn and just start to get those ticks, start to get the ammo. But right now, without any Munkidori, even if Frostlass is in play, the only one getting damage is this Iron Bundle. That is technically still damage on Haruki's board, but it's more ideal on the Munkidori. Munkidori sticks, Iron Bundle, goes away, takes all his damage counters sometimes. But let's see what else Haruki can put together.
Yep, not going to go for that second sword. Has one in his hand. And I think there does feel... there's definitely a tipping point in this deck where you can set up double Frostlass, but sometimes that can be overwhelming on your own side. That's where your own Munkidoris are being put at risk. The damage piling up on Marnie's Grimmsnarl is a little too much. You're effectively reducing your HP of every single Pokemon by 40 HP each turn, right? So Haruki being very measured this time around, knows that for the overall matchup, I mean, he's 4-0 in this matchup in general, right? That means he's won at least 8 games usually. Against Charizard, he knows exactly how to go about this. And that's where maybe if Reed knocked out the Frostlass, there would be less damage heading over on his side of the field, and he could manage it better.
Yeah, Haruki was able to put down the Munkidori at the very least with the energy. So when we were talking about ideal turns, there we go. That is a very ideal turn as we move now to Reed, who has quite a few things to be played. A lot of energy in hand, but I do see the Ultra Ball. Could we see a Pidgeot or a Charizard hit the board? Probably Pidgeot first and then the Charizard.
Yeah, that quick search ability being live finally for Reed. Now he will be the first to take a prize card. Probably not gonna be able to take down the Morgrim. Maybe he can. He did discard another Ultra Ball. So yeah, I mean, he could have used Ultra Ball for Pidgeot, Ultra Ball for Charizard perhaps. No, he has 2 cards left in the hand, so no, not enough cards to go. Get both and then get a boss's orders. But now it's just gonna be the early aggression, a Charmeleon as well hitting the board. That's pretty important, and the Munkidori already established. That's the key. Match his opponent's Munkidori 1-for-1, and any damage heading over on Haruki's side of the board can also be sent to Reed, but Reed can send some of that back.
The Monkey War stalemate. Definitely want to match monkey for monkey, damage counter for damage counter, as Haruki does have the Spike Muth Stadium. This gets to find, again, any Marnie's Pokemon. Doesn't have to be a basic. So we are going to see, at the very least, a Marnie's Grimmsnarl hit the board. Haruki just, again, making sure he has every bit of information before making his plays, asking Reed how many cards in hand. Checking out Counter Catcher.
There we have it. Both players being very aware of how the Munkidori dynamic comes into play, and Haruki just wants to take that down. Now, I'm wondering why we are not going for the Grimmsnarl, thinning the deck a little bit more. Perhaps Haruki wants to give himself the chance to find the Marnie's Grimmsnarl off of this Lily's Determination, and that way he can use the Spiked Muth Gym to find the Morgrim and have an easier time, especially now that I'm sure he's aware that the rare candy is not available to him.
If I had to guess as well, once you do evolve into Marnie's Grimmsnarl, you have to attach energy from the deck. Maybe Haruki wants to have energy in hand for even more Munkidoris to be drawn into, since it is a full 8 here.
It is a full 8. Did we find either of the pieces? I don't think we did.
Is that an Ultra Ball?
Oh, it is the one copy of Ultra Ball. There we go. It's effectively a third Grimmsnarl at this point in time. But yeah, we're going to be able to either search for a Munkidori and establish that. We can search for the Grimmsnarl and get the Morgrim with the Stadium. That also works too. See the Munkidori being put to the front. Yep, so you were on it, Juancho, wanting to keep those energies in the deck so that they were available to be drawn, knowing that the Grimmsnarl was guaranteed.
Yes, Haruki here just saying he does not want to have a stalemate, to have that Munkidori stalemate. He wants to be winning that Munkidori war. He wants to be able to move more damage counters than his opponent, and even shows to why he chose to countercatcher the Munkidori, just really having that dominance.
Yeah, it used to be 1-1 for the Munkidoris. Now it's 2-0, and that's going to be where Haruki's damage will start overwhelming Reed's board. And now the lower HP Pokemon that Reed could possibly bench are immediately threatened, right, by the Shadow Bullet bonus damage plus the Adrenabrain. So a lot of pressure over on Reed's side, despite getting that pretty ideal start this time around.
Yes. Right now there's, well, it doesn't look like a lot, but there's so much damage counters on the board. Yes, they're on these big HP Pokemon, the 330 HP, the 280 Pidgeot, but you also have to look at what's underneath. So sometimes the clock is actually what is underneath those Pokemon, the Pidgeotos, the Charmeleons. But again, Haruki has so many lines. Reed right now, again, has access to everything he wants in the deck. Has his Charmeleon, has his Charizard. Pablo, if you could do one play, what could it be?
I mean, seems like Reed has chosen to now take down the Frostlass, right? I think Munkidoris are way less of a threat if your opponent doesn't have that damage, that Freezing Shroud piling up on them. So I love this. I feel like this is almost an adaptation from the previous game where Reed was in a similar situation and chose to take down the Morgrim instead of the Frostlass, right? This time could have done something similar, could have taken down the Impidimp, let the damage pile up, let Haruki, or wait for Haruki, take a few prizes perhaps, and then one-hit KO, try to one-hit KO the Marnie's Grimmsnarl, but this time around he's like, okay, I don't want you getting any more damage counters than you need to on my side of the board. The only damage counters you'll have to work with are the ones I place on you.
I like it. Despite Haruki having the Munkidori dominance here, there's not much to throw with only one pip on each of his Pokemon.
There we have the damage now. One more damage counter heading into that Charmeleon. One more damage counter heading now. 70 damage on it, 30 HP remaining, and what a coinkydink.
Hey, that's enough.
We have Shadow Bullet dealing 30 more damage onto the Charmeleon for another prize card.
Very scary to think of the amount of math you have to consider, right? You have to consider the fact that how much damage can Munkidori throw at me, and you have to add into the fact that Grimmsnarl is also throwing damage to the bench. And again, that was enough to take a knockout on the lone Charmeleon. Right now, Reed is sitting on just Charizard and Pidgeot. That's the name of his deck, Charizard, Pidgeot. Yeah, but we're gonna need a little bit more.
Pretty good top deck there for Reed with that Supra, because it's not just Charmeleon going down, right? It's the Charmander resource, it's a Stage 1 resource, it's a Fire Energy resource, which these Charizard decks are really skimping on lately, right? They play a 3-2-2 Charizard line, they only play 5 basic energy, so any cards you lose out of those can be very detrimental. Now, Reed does find the Heroescape, which could be utilized right now to give extra HP to the Charizard. Is that enough to save it from the essentially 240 damage Shadow Bullet next turn? Probably not, right? If there was a Munkidori as well, maybe it would have been the case, but he would have had 230 HP remaining on Charizard EX exactly, right? So no point in attaching it there. Now Reed is able to establish another Charmander at the very least, but once again, the Shadow Bullet damage, if he doesn't get 2 Charmanders down, or if he attacks the Marnie's Grimmsnarl, then all that Adrenabrain damage just keeps piling on and would allow Haruki to knock out the Charizard and the Charmander, not winning the game, but leaving Reed with nothing to threaten.
I just have to think, is that the downside of, yes, the cape doesn't really protect Charizard EX from getting knocked out. It will have 230 HP, but it is taking away heat from it, right? It forces the Munkidori damage to be placed on the Charizard. That means you have at the very least a a Charmander to play with, but
I think we could have also maybe attacked and attached the Hero's Cape to the Charmander as well. That definitely would have protected it, but Reed choosing not to attack, right? So choosing not to put damage counters on Marnie's Grimmsnarl, that also means Haruki takes a knockout, right? There's exactly 2 damage counters on the Pidgeot, right? And Haruki will be at 2 prizes remaining. Charizard will be doing 300 damage total. So if Reed is able to establish a Munkidori and have Rare Candy Charizard, he could one-hit KO this Marnie's Grimmsnarl. So it almost feels like a bad situation for Haruki to take a prize card. So pretty well done there by Reed.
I like it. The Charizard EX potential trap. And with the support of Pidgeot, things can definitely come together as Haruki, though,
Flying through.
yeah, getting another Munkidori, grabs the Iron Bundle now. Hyper Blower is going to force the Charizard onto the bench. Very tough choice here for Reed.
Yeah, I love this. You promote the Pidgeot, now you're in prime. Technical Machine Devolution, bad situation. You promote the Charmander, Haruki only takes a prize card, which means his Grimmsnarl is still out of range of a Charizard EX's Burning Darkness despite a Munkidori. So it's going to be the Pidgeot getting promoted. It's going to be 30 damage to the Charmander. Reed against the ropes in a situation where if he attacks, it's not great. And if he doesn't attack, it's also not great.
Yeah, Haruki did not fall for that Charizard EX trap that you mentioned earlier. Instead, had the perfect counter, and now damage all over the board. Rare Candy Charizard, though. Second Charizard now coming into play, a little bit healthier with only 30 damage on it, 300 HP. But it had to be Rare Candy into that Charizard.
And it's going to have to be a quick search for an Iono. I can't imagine any other play. Reed knows the Technical Machine Devolution is in his opponent's hand, so if it doesn't take that away, then it's essentially game over if Reed attacks. But if he doesn't attack, how do you win the game? It's going to be a boss's orders here.
Well, that's a way to attack where you're not leaving damage counters on the board at the very least.
That's another option for sure. It's just the susceptibility of the Technical Machine Devolution is there, right? In order to compensate for this, you're going to need another Rare Candy in your hand. And if this is combined with an Iono, perhaps, it's going to be tough.
Terrifying board as Marnie's Grimmsnarl hits the active. Haruki has so many options. Is it 180 damage to the active, 30 damage to the bench? Devolution.
Just trying to confirm we have already drawn for a turn. Arvin off the top. So if we had Iono and attacked into the Marnie's Grimmsnarl, we definitely would have been able to find the Technical Machine Devolution. Now, as Haruki probably just needs to, as long as there's Munkidoris established, Reed essentially can't leave damage on the board, right? But we're heading into a situation where Haruki can just now attack, and now all 3 Pokemon are established. So knocking out the Munkidori essentially delays the win, but we need to get rid of that Technical Machine Devolution as soon as possible from Haruki's hand. Can't wait another turn, I don't think. Yeah, Haruki just attacked. Oh no, he's asking how many cards in hand.
And 3 cards on Reed's hand. Haruki still has an option to play a supporter, could still potentially play something like the Arvin so that he doesn't have to shuffle in the TM Devolution. Opting to Artazone first, though. Maybe find some options, recheck what's in the deck.
Secret box. Yeah.
Eyeing up the secret box, but right now doesn't really need too much. Maybe just the darkness energy, at least, for the Munkidori. Do you think he ever tries to reset up the Snorunt? Probably not. I mean, it's a little bit too... it's a little late, and right now you're really depending on your opponent giving you the damage counters.
Yeah, I think you're in a situation where you don't want to overdo it, right? You want to, like, make sure you keep your outs. That's why maybe even playing this Arvin, if your hand's going to get attacked, that's 1 less out to Technical Machine Devolution. Yeah, I mean, weird spot. I think you would enjoy having another Marnie's Grimmsnarl in play. I think that's definitely something you would like to have at this point in time. But yeah, definitely a convoluted turn, right? You can see even Haruki now we're seeing a bit of more of like, I need to play a card to continue to think, to continue to make sure that I'm planning this out. We do see the secret box get grabbed, so we're going to see a lot of deck thinning, which is also very important, right? If we grab a lot of cards that don't help us find Technical Machine Evolution eventually, then that's going to help us in finding Technical Machine Evolution in case we do get Ionoed.
I have to think too, though, is this almost like a secret box for a lot of useless cards I don't want in the deck in case I get Ionoed? That would be an interesting way to go about this. I mean, of course, grabbing the stadium is always great. Like you said, setting up a second Marnie's Grimmsnarl. Maybe at this point, like you grab, 2 items you're not going to use, supporters you don't want to see. And it looks like it was just the counter catcher, boss's orders, and the Spike Muth Stadium.
Okay, counter catcher. Oh, okay. I mean, taking out Pidgeot is a way to protect your Technical Machine Evolution in the hand, right? We take out the Pidgeot. We no longer care too much about our Pokemon getting KO'd, with establishing a Munkidori as well to knock out the Grimmsnarl with 20 damage being moved from Adrenal Brain is also pretty hard. Yes, Charizard will now deal 300 damage. That's still not enough of damage on Marnie's Grimmsnarl because there's no Frostlass damaging my own Pokemon anymore.
Right now, again, after this turn, Haruki is going to be taking down Reed Hartman's main support Pokemon, and then leaving Reed with only double Charizard. Can't even really take the knockout just yet. What do you think he needs to find to put it together, though?
You need to find Munkidori and Luminous Energy, right? Move 2 damage counters to the Marnie's Grimmsnarl and be able to take a prize that way. But the Luminous Energy is prized. The second copy is not available. I'm not sure if we already exhausted one. I think we did, right? We took a knockout on a Munkidori, so 300 damage is not possible. If Reed attacks, he probably ends up losing the game. There's a boss's orders in Haruki's hand as well, I believe. That was the grab from the A-Spec, right?
I think there might be at least one Luminous Energy.
Oh, okay, yeah, we play 3. Yeah, you're right. So there is one energy available.
A chance. And he draws into it.
All right, so we can take a knockout. Is that enough, though? Isn't there a boss's orders in Haruki's hand? Was that not the grab from the secret box?
Oh, yeah,
I can't remember. So
that was the grab from the secret box. So the Charizard on the bench right now, very, very susceptible. What? There's nothing stopping Haruki now from just taking this game and taking the crown here at LAIC.
Yeah, maybe I'm misremembering the boss's orders in the hand.
I remember it was full
art. I think it is, yeah.
130.
It's Cyrus.
It was. Again, 130 HP on the Charizard is going to heal a little bit. 30 damage move. That means 160. 160 is less than 180. No cape, no anything. Boss's orders. Ladies and gentlemen, Haruki Okunishi is your LAIC champion.